So I go to the grocery store today to get some groceries, and I got some grapes because obviously 3 kids love grapes. $15.07. $15.07. Ridiculous. So then I go over to red grapes. Maybe that'll be better. Nope, $11.
1 gallon of gas in Kansas is over half of minimum wage. So in Kansas, gas just hit $4.29. The minimum wage in Kansas is $7.50. So to put this in perspective, if you have like a Toyota Camry or a Nissan Altima or, you know, a car, nothing fancy, your gas tank holds about 15 to 16 gallons, okay? That means that if you work at minimum wage, if you're just starting out, you know, you're a teenager with a part-time job, whatever the reason that you are making minimum wage, it doesn't really matter. It's not the point. You would have to work 8.5 hours just to fill up your gas tank. So you would have to work an entire shift plus some just to fill up your gas tank to get to work, to get to your next shift. Are we winning yet? Is America great again? Oh my God, make it make sense.
Good morning and happy Thursday. We've almost made it through another work week. I have to stop on the way to work and get gas, so I am not looking forward to that because my tank is completely empty. My light is on. So let's see how much that cost this morning. $4.65 a gallon. It has gone down a little bit. It ended up costing me $81.05 to fill up my vehicle, which is absolutely disheartening. I drive a GMC Terrain, which it does cost a little bit more, but normally it costs me around $45 a week. So I almost used my 2 weeks worth of gas budget for 1 week. So needless to say, we won't be doing much traveling this weekend.
I just saw a video that said expect the grocery prices to go up even more because of the cost of transportation, because of the war crisis in Iran, and lack of fuel. The cost of fuel has gone up tremendously with gas, okay? Now the cost of our food is going to go up because of transportation of the food. Our grocery prices in right now are already at an all-time high. Inflation is at an all-time high. Like, I have to pick and choose what I want to buy because everything is so freaking expensive. And I try to buy a bulk of things that are going to last me, that I can make numerous meals over, because that is the only way that I can afford to eat at this point. And now they're saying, on top of inflation of groceries, they're going to inflate and have a temporary surcharge even more because of transportation. Gas is at an all-time high, so if you want to go anywhere, going to cost you $1 million. We have to pay taxes. We have to pay all this money towards necessities to live now. God forbid you booked a trip and you want to go and fly anywhere. Airlines now are going to be canceling a bunch of flights because they cannot afford the fuel costs. They're also going to surcharge now and charge an additional, I think, $60, $70 a ticket because of fuel costs. And the prices of flights are going to go up so high that people are not going to be able to afford to fly. So if you want to actually go anywhere, if this war continues, you are not going to be able to travel or go anywhere. So you're going to be stuck and stranded where you are, and you're not going to be able to do anything. I was planning on having an Italian summer just for the first time in my life. And if this war does not get settled, we're all royally screwed, and I genuinely don't know how we're going to afford to live. The grocery prices are already unaffordable. The gas prices are already through the roof. Everything is already so unaffordable. We can barely get by. We're living paycheck to paycheck. So basically, to sum it all up, everything costs money. Even to breathe now is going to cost you money. And this is all thanks to the President of the United States.
It's very busy. And local friends, this is at the get-go right by Honda, like Cracker Barrel. $3.88. So it's like the cheapest I've seen in a little while.
And I forgot to take a video, but just filled up for $60.98.
Which is sad because not that long ago I filled up for like $40. But it is what it is.
Yo, I just drove by Quick Trip and that said gas was $4.29. What the hell? Filled up last night for $3.99, but $4.29? What the?
$4.19 per gallon. Remember, Roger Marshall wants you to get over it. Kansans continue to get less and less out of their hard-earned paychecks thanks to people like Roger Marshall.
If you really think about it, like, this generation has gone through so much. We've gone through a recession. We've gone through COVID. We've literally gone through it all. Like, what's next? A tsunami in the Midwest? Like, that's not even possible. But, like, at the same time, I'm not going to hold anything back, you know? I used to be able to fill my car up with literally $20 full. And now it takes 46.
Hey, I just want you to know, yesterday, regular gas was $3.99. Today, you want to know the price? Here you go. $4.29, a 30-cent increase. Now, that was quite a big jump, right? Get used to it. It's not over. It's not over. All right. Thank you all. Thank you all. Yeah, it's great. This is sarcasm on my face, but I just had to share this information. Just, it's not over. We're just getting started.
Be honest, is $3.99 per gallon for gas cheap, or am I complaining too much? I think it's atrocious.
You want to see something fun? Power bill $9.50 just for the power bill. I mean, it's gas too, so gas and power $950 a month is where we're reaching now at this point. And maybe it was from when we put the tiny house in. This is like a quadplex basically set up, so it's whatever. You're going to use more power, but even with our like shared houses, other things like that, you're at 500, 400, maybe 600 like worst times of the year. So this was just much higher than I've ever had at places like that. So it's just surprising. But look at this. Okay, so here's like more normal, right? So what is that? October last year, $412. We creep up in the wintertime, right? 500, 665. So December, it starts getting more expensive. And then now that we're into April, which is kind of crazy, in April, $9.50. It hasn't been very cold, but we've been creeping up as we get into winter, whatever it's called, but it really hasn't been that cold this year. So I'm just thinking it's got to be like the pumps for the tiny house, maybe. But they're saying the kilowatt hours have doubled since last year, which is super crazy.
If you live in Kansas, they're trying to put 2 of those AI centers in Central County. That we have so much farmland. They're going to affect so many people. They're going to steal all of our water.
Can somebody explain to me why my electric bill is $525 freaking dollars?
The people who put Donald Trump back in White House are now living in their cars. Not metaphorically, literally sleeping in storage units because rent hit $2,500 for a 1-bedroom and the power bill is eating what's left of their paycheck. $950 a month for electricity in America as we speak. And while families are choosing between groceries and gas, $5 for diesel everywhere else, the administration pumped billions into a war with Iran that by their own voters and petition wasn't affecting Americans in any way in the first place. 2 years in Donald Trump's second term, the cost of living in the United States is not just high. It is brutal. It is violent in the way that poverty is always violent. Quietly in kitchens and parking lots and storage units where people now sleep because $2,500 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment is the new normal in the cities that used to be affordable. Ground beef, $15.7 a tank of gas in Kansas, 8 hours of minimum wage work. 1 tank just to get to the job that pays the minimum wage. And then there is the power bill. $950 a month for electricity because the same local governments chasing data, center contracts, AI infrastructure, tech investment, the future are letting those facilities drain the water supply, spike the kilowatt rates and hand the tab directly to residents. The data centers don't give back. They take water, they take power, they return pollution to the rivers and crops, and your light bill goes up while the servers stay cool. This is the architecture of extraction. And if you're from anywhere in the African diaspora, you recognize it immediately. It has a different name in different places. Structural adjustment, austerity, development without distribution, you name it. But the mechanism is the same. Someone profits, everyone else pays. Now, here's where it gets completely insane. And I need you to stay with me because this part matters. The voters crying on social media right now, the ones calling for impeachment, the ones saying life was better under Obama, many of them are white working class Americans who had every demographic reason to understand economic precarity, and they voted for it anyway, twice. From the diaspora, that's a painful thing to witness because black and brown communities in America have been sounding alarms about these exact conditions. Predatory housing markets, wage suppression, healthcare deserts, utility monopolies for decades. And those alarms were dismissed. The messengers were dismissed. So there is a reckoning happening right now that feels too many of us like finally and also like far too late, But here's the diaspora analysis that mainstream commentary won't give you. This moment is not just about regret. It is an opening, a political and cultural rupture where solidarity becomes possible in ways it wasn't before. If we have the discipline to build across it rather than simply observe it from a distance. The Iran war surcharges hitting grocery receipts, the airline fees, the blanket tariffs raising prices across the board on everything from electronics to food. These ain't abstract policy debates. They are kitchen table emergencies, and they are landing in households that previously believed those emergencies were someone else's problem. They are not someone else's problem anymore. They ain't. So for those of us in the diaspora, whether you're in Nigerian, American, watching this from Houston, Jamaican, Canadian in Toronto, Canadian in the UK, you understand the particular exhaustion of watching a powerful country make choices that are obviously self-destructive and then act shocked when the consequences come. We've watched it happen to our home countries. We've watched IMF conditions gut public services. We've watched resource extraction masquerade as development. We've watched governments choose war funding over hunger relief and then wonder why people are in the streets. America is not exceptional in its capacity for self-inflicted collapse. It is exceptional only in how long it convinced itself otherwise. So this moment is a reckoning, a moment to reflect. So what you're going to do, you got to document it, name it accurately, resist the temptation to either gloat or despair, and you need to hold firmly to the principle that economic justice, real economic justice, not campaign rhetoric, requires solidarity that crosses lines that have historically divided working people from each other. The 950 power bill doesn't care about your politics. Story union doesn't care about your pride. And that's the opening. That's the crack in the wall. This is the Diaspora View. Thank you for watching. Let us catch up in the next one.